I know, I saw you.
And I couldn't, and then I didn't know where anybody was. It was like getting lost in the
You're like that little kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, this whole thing is out of control.
I'll just throw one out there. You've done so many voices, everyone knows that stuff. I got to ask you, does your wife ever sit there or yourself wonder what you really sound like and you start to question yourself?
Well, my wife does this too, but in fact, she's done a couple of adventure times lately. But, and she's carrying the computer on SpongeBob. But I think it helps to have a fairly uninteresting, vanilla, boring voice to start with. You know what I mean? Because then you can. Because I found that there's two types of voiceover people: people that are just born with that one great voice, like the movie trailer guy.
Tom
You know
Kane.
what I mean? Yeah, Tom Kane, right? And that's his real voice. Or hopefully you have enough of a Velveeta, middle of the road voice that you can twist it into enough various balloon animals that you can work a fair amount.
Do you have your sore throat voice?
Yeah,
Just in
you know,
case?
maybe once or twice a year you lose your voice. There's just nothing you can do about it. Hope it happens on a Friday so that you have the weekend to recuperate. You know, so sometimes it's just going to go out on you.
Do you ever get like the Mel Blanc thing where like they're hustling you from studio to studio in town cars and get all this stuff in a day? Because you're quite prolific these days.
Yeah, no, I drive my crappy little Prius all over town, but limos make me uncomfortable. But it's scheduling in LA. You know, just trying to get from point A to point B to point C to point D. If sometimes it can go off track and you wind up with people mad at you and you're running late. But not that much. Not that much.
Can I just ask you, who was probably your greatest voice influence? Like you mentioned Mel Blanc. But
The aforementioned Mel, yeah, he's kind of the Babe Ruth of voiceover guys. But you know, Dawes Butler,
did you ever
Stan Freberg, you know, was huge for me. Never got a chance. I worked with people who got to work with him that are slightly older than me, and I got into the game slightly too late, you know. But Stan Freberg I've gotten to meet and work with, and Mel I never got to meet, you know. But you know, all that era of voiceover guys, Bill Scott, you know, from Bill Bullwinkle, and you know, June Foray. There was you know, Rocky the Flying Squirrel, and a million other voices, Natasha and Bullwinkle, and she's still with us, you know, still hanging in there, still doing voiceovers. Beautiful little lady.
Jeremy, are you in awe standing next to this legend in voiceover? And
Yeah.
you start out, you're the rookie?
Can't you tell? Look at him.
Yeah.
He's thrilled.
I don't know, my face is getting all red, my voice is cracking.
Does your voice change?
Just breathe,
Yeah.
man.
Can I get a paper bag?
You got the thin blush going in. Do you ever get like recognized in school, like you know, popular kids your own age for doing thin?
I'm actually homeschooled, so I don't get that. And because of the voice, it's not like something that, like, you know, people just see me out on the street unless they really like that into the show. I
There
guess,
are those people, though.
Yeah, there are actually.
Increasingly so.
It was crazy. I was at Hot Topic the other day and somebody noticed me and I was like, oh, hey. But yeah, no, my youth group, somebody figured it out, so now they all know and they wrote it and stuff. That's about it. And when I'm
You
here.
could draw more if you want, because I just did my best poor imitation because I didn't have anything for him to say.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a good imitation.
Yeah, I went to art school. It comes in handy. I'm like, wait, I could draw something. Your dad's not that bad after all.
So there were a couple of people wanting to see your panel today, you know, one or two.
Yeah.
And you know, I've seen the treatment. You know, I saw some footage from San Diego, and you know, I imagine you're working in animation. It's got to be very isolated. When you see the feedback the show has gotten after just about a year and a half on the air at events like this, what's your reaction? I mean, there's got to be a certain rock star quality here. You're feeling the show.
What's going on?
It's super cool.
Especially this guy. And him, obviously.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's fun to watch it happen. Like, you know, it's funny. Like when we did it, you see it grow. Like from the first time we did it at San Diego, which I guess was 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And you know, there was maybe a little bit of a buzz. Regular show didn't hardly exist yet at that time.
Because they were just like
they were just sneaking it out.
It hadn't aired yet.
It hadn't aired yet, and you just see it a difference that a couple of seasons makes of not only are people familiar with the show and seeing it, but it really means something to them. Like it becomes part of the fabric of their lives, and as a result of that, they want to know more about these obscure characters, or what's this guy like, and are you going to do a story about this guy, and really they want to get next to the mind that creates it all. So and it's fun to watch it happen.
You're no stranger to cult status, and you see this phenomenon go on and on. Now, are you sitting there saying, okay, not that SpongeBob's over because we know when the new episodes come on, but are you looking going, okay, this is my next phenomenon that I'm going to be with for 10 years? And
boy,
you're hoping that.
I always hope everything lasts 10 years as a guy with 2 kids that are going to go to college. But I think, for me, it's just fun, having worked on a lot of different series, and every so often you see the ones that attain, like you said, that cult status, and it's fun. You can see it happen. It happened with Powerpuff Girls. It happened with SpongeBob, and now it's happening with Adventure Time. You just see the process where people don't just watch it.
Yeah.
They don't just consume it. They're into it on a deeper level. You know what I mean? Like it's not just wallpaper in their house while they're doing the dishes or whatever. It's kind of destination
you have to
viewing.
watch it. I mean, you can't just put it on the background. He knows when the little snail appears in every episode.
Yeah,
house,
that's
he
great.
jumps up and down and goes, "There's a snail." Now we
I
can
love
rest
that.
easy.
I know. My kids
Is
love
that in
it.
every one of them, by the way?
Glitch right now. I'm worried about that snail.
It gets harder to find.
Oh no, they find it.
There's one episode that slipped through the cracks, which super bums me out.
Now, do you ever get worried that parents are going to call you up and what's the balloon thing that I questioned at our house when
The balloon
drop balloon?
Oh, drop ball?
Drop ball. My wife looks at me like, "Is he okay watching this?" And I go, "He's 11. He'll be fine." I used to watch
Yeah.
God knows what, Ren and Stimpy.
I grew up with
I'm
Ren and
okay,
Stimpy.
right?
That blew my mind.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah,
And Beavis and Butthead, and those cartoons rocked my world when I was growing up.
Yeah, I guess probably as a creator, you just have to make the show that you make, and you know what I mean. Like just and because if you start second guessing, like this person in this mom in Des Moines is going to bum out if I use this word, or like this guy.
Yeah.
You tend to start censoring yourself before the fact, and I guess with greater visibility, that kind of does. There's more eyeballs on
there's
it.
a little eyebrow raise,
Believe me, SpongeBob's always in trouble, and Powerpuff Girls used to get in trouble because they were cute little girls that punched guys in the face really hard.
What was the latest nonsense though? The younger kids that watch it, it affects their school grades. They go, "Well, we're shot now."
Well,
there goes
4-year-olds.
Yale.
4-year-olds
on
after
it too. So I'm sorry.
4-year-olds after watching SpongeBob, I guess, they found it harder to focus than if they watched Caillou on
as
PBS.
opposed to Sesame Street.
That's you.
But after watching Caillou on PBS, the parents need to go to happy hour and have a drink.
Jeremy, what do your friends think that you're like the coolest guy in the world? Because they all have you getting their cell phones out and say, "Here, record it as Vin in my phone." You get a lot
I don't
of
think that as much as you would think, actually. And I knew them all before it all came out and stuff, so it's not really like that at all. And that is awesome.
Yeah.
I was actually, I was thinking to myself to ask if you do an LSP voice. I love LSP so much.
Oh my god!
Melissa.
That's my daughter.
Tom, you mentioned about the Powerpuff Girls. Any talks of them returning?
Every so often you'll hear some snippet of something, but that so far has come to naught. But everything's on the 20-year plan. There's a Ninja Turtle. There's a Ninja Turtle show on Nickelodeon right now.
Another in front of you.
Yeah, Strawberry Shortcake is huge. Everything comes back. It's My Little Pony.
Are you still dealing with Dietrich Bader? Robin. What's the Dietrich Bader voice we do at the house? From
Batman the Brave and the Bold.
Yeah, you're Robin still, right? Is that production wrapped or?
I don't know if they...
I think that one wrapped.
Yeah, I
really?
think they did.
I actually got to see Advance of the last episode. It's so meta, it's meta.
It is very meta.
They try to top
Plastic Man on
themselves.
that
Yeah,
show.
Steve Melchin writes it. I know it's Steve.
Oh,
He's
cool.
always
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to
yeah,
find some
yeah.
obscure character, and I'll be like at home going through all my old comics going, "You didn't do the Ace of Cards gang or something like this." They already did that episode. And every week, it's
Bruce
getting
Timm's
more
already
bizarre.
used that. We can't do anything Bruce
Oh
Timm
yeah,
wants
and then
to
you
do.
guys, you see the baseball scene where the Batman was playing against the Legion of Doom, and I'm like, this is bizarre, but it's cool.
It's like 60. It's like crazy 60s comics.
It's just something
like
you wanna
like
see.
the Julius Schwartz, 60s. You know,
Oh, yeah, Julius Schwartz, yeah.
Jimmy Olsen would be turning into giant turtles and stuff every
I
issue.
think it's very much like the Adam West Batman.
Yeah, which is my favorite Batman.
The Adam West ones?
Yeah, I'd rather watch Adam West Batman than Tim Burton Batman any day.
Well, I think there's room for both, and that's what's fun about this.
Yeah.
And again, they address that in the final episode.
Yes.
It's so...
Yeah.
I just love the fact that, they're already crazy and they just go, yeah, let's just throw it in, make it even crazier for the last batch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm a
That
nerd,
was a
so I love
fun
all
show.
those like D-list and
All the one-
E-list,
yeah, I mean, when you like the
bench
Killer
warmers,
Moth
the
design.
bench warmer superheroes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
They're
I do
slingers.
ask, what would you guys like to, Jeremy, what would you like to see happen with your characters? Like, what would be your dream story for the Ice King or Jeff Lemire? Excellent guy.
I don't know. I mean, most of the stuff that I would have thought would have been cool has been done. I mean, my mind doesn't work like these guys. They can think of these crazy ideas and stuff. And I'm always surprised when I get this script. Like, I would never have thought of that.
Are you more of a Princess Bubblegum type or a Marceline type?
That's a question.
As in, like, what?
Like, would you
love
rather have
interest
Finn
would you-
if you...
Oh, okay.
Marceline's pretty cool.
I'd probably go with Marcellus.
I'm all
Well, I
you
think
mean
the-
you mean in terms of
the
attracted
TV
to her, or what type?
yeah, that's
more
what I meant.
her?
Like, would you rather have Finn date Marceline versus Bubblegum?
Oh,
Exactly.
do you like the goth chicks?
In real life, no. Adventure Time, yeah.
Okay, I don't want to get too weird here.
Yeah.
Hey,
Too late.
Would you ever? Yeah, I mean
I
that's.
have to take them.
Okay. Well, Tom, who would you like to have the Ice King? Would you like the Ice King to finally get a settled
I have to
relationship?
take
Okay,
them.
sorry.
Thank
Hey,
you.
I think
Named Muscle Man Mitch because it ruined my reputation at the house. And then when the episode came on where his own man boobs knocked him out, I gotta hear that all day. Like, look, Dad, you're just like him. I go. So, why did you do that?
Well, originally his name was just Muscle Man,
Which was
and,
fine.
and one day we had that it was God, what was the episode called? My mom?
Ask him.
No, it was
Where
the
you
Starlight
find out
one.
that
He
his
does
name
all
is
the
Mitch.
voices. He knows.
And basically, we needed a moment where he was like really down, and he like actually like hears his name, like we hear it for the first time, and one of the board artists, they came up with the name, and we were like, that's awesome. So then he became Mitch Sorenstein, but that wasn't planned from the start.
Oh, okay.
So I apologize if that's
That's
caused you a
okay.
little
It's
bit
all right.
of
So it's a
grief.
reason for me to get in shape now, so I'm not made fun of by a muscle man. And I saw Mark Hamill here yesterday. He skips.
He is.
And Owen, my son here, who's watched him so much that we begin to worry if we should send him to a psychiatrist. Is it true that Skips really became a character once nipples appeared on his chest?
No, he was always Skips, and I think his character design always had nipples on the chest, but yeah, I don't
You told
know.
me they weren't on there.
I'm sure
that was a
that-
big controversy at our house.
I wonder if there was an episode where like they got missed or
Nipless.
something. Yeah, there was probably like a nipless one where it was like a mistake, but he always had them.
Now, I can't believe how young you are,
Thanks.
because I'm 45. Don't tell me you're 42, then I'll really feel bad about the way I look. But the conversations that the folks have between Mordecai and Rigby are the same conversations I had in '89 with my Slacker friends. And I think when I watch a show with my kid, I go, he's not going to get this because they're playing old Atari games. I go, this show is written by guys in their 40s and it's about the late 80s. And then I saw you today, I go, okay, I really got to go see some of this. I guess nothing's changed in the
They're
old
back.
technology.
The 80s are back, is what happened.
Oh, so I'm coming back in fashion?
That's right.
It's true.
I'm going to get my rugby shirts out tomorrow.
Yeah, there
my
you
Don
go.
Johnson
There you go.
hair
There you go.
and stuff.
Yeah, I grew up in the '80s, so I really like
Oh, so you did.
enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, I was born in '82, so.
I was watching Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Right.
You weren't even a zygote.
But like, I also like music that I'm really into is like old rock and '80s stuff. Like that's the stuff I like to listen to. It's just what I like. And
Patty Smythe going to be on
that's the
Scandal.
There's going to be more copywritten music in the show, and like it's all like '80s and '70s stuff, and like we're all really into it. A lot of us that work on the show, like we just genuinely think that stuff's funny, and like it's really like the way they talk to each other. It's all from college. Like that's just the way we
that's
acted
what
with
it
each other. And we're
Dude, that's what
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
like. Do me a solid. I got to hear this all day now. You're ruining America's children between you and Adventure Time.
I think we're
here.
gearing them up for college. This is perfect.
You thought that had all passed, right? It's funny because I'm an age peer with you, and I can totally relate to what you're saying. Is that it's funny that because I was in college back during this time when these guys were kids. Yeah, I was in college, and I was looking for wrestling buddies of a completely different nature. But they were like,
Wrestling buddies?
yeah, that was what
It's like a toy.
What's going on there?
It's a toy from the show. Like I said, like my agent is these guys' age, and he was like, yeah, wrestling buddies, like a doll that they like wrestle with. Right.
Oh, all right.
And like, I didn't know from that, but when I was, because I was busy socializing at that time. But it's funny because it's like you really hit on something that's key to the show, I think, which is that it appeals to the people who were young adults at that time.
We're not 2 years old.
Yeah, exactly, and it appeals to the kids who. I mean, we both generations kind of remember it as a golden time for different reasons.
Absolutely, man.
You know.
Now, is Ricky going to go for some deep therapy soon and get some Valium? Because every week we're watching this, I'm like, don't act like him.
Yeah.
Act more like Mordecai. He's cool.
Yeah.
And he's adapted the Mordecai lifestyle. He's got low blood pressure, looking at 100. Ricky's going to die of a massive coronary at 30, or however raccoons get.
I like to think that Rigby is a great role model in reverse. You know, you're using him exactly the right way. Don't be Rigby.
Don't be a Rigby.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
It never works out for you.
Mike, it's funny. I've got a 12-year-old stepson, and like he and his friends will get into arguments about who's more like what.
Yeah.
And it's always interesting based on you learn something about the kids' values based on who they want to identify with. You know what I mean? That is awesome.
So, are they ever going to grow up, or are they just going to be like Charlie Brown forever?
I guess it depends on how long they let us do it, but I would say that they're probably going to stick to the same age because we don't have to worry about like their voices changing or anything like that.
I was thinking that kid from Adventure Time. I'm like, what's he going to do in about 6 months at our house? It's like nails on a chalkboard.
They're showing signs of they're evolving.
They're showing signs of maturing.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that coming up in the third season.
Oh, the third season.
It's coming up, but yeah, we just finished writing our 80th episode, which will
80
11
80 years,
episodes,
80 episodes.
which is crazy.
It seems like 80.
Because we've been doing it, we've just been like nonstop, like
Yeah.
so like
It's possible is it like doing a feature or maybe a straight to DVD?
we just did the Halloween episode, which was our first like half-hour special, which we were really excited about because I really wanted it to be scary. Like, I wanted to try to make it like, could you make a cartoon scary? And I'm like really into that because like I remember as a kid watching like Aliens and a couple movies that I had nightmares for like weeks, but now I don't get scared at all. So it's like, you gotta cherish that time of being afraid because it goes away and eventually like that stuff doesn't work on you as much. So it's like
The swing scene with the doll, and he's sitting out there, and I'm like closing my eyes. I'm like, don't look, Owen, it's gonna be bad. And he's just like, I don't want to. It said I want to mark you. What was he really saying?
Oh yeah,
I want to draw on your face. Yeah,
I want to draw on your face.
I want to draw on your face.
That was you?
Yeah.
Mark Hamill was the wizard with the...
Yes, that's
Because I
right.
saw him yesterday, and I'm in the front row, and I put a picture of Skips in front of my bag.
Yeah.
He's like, nobody knows I'm the voice of Skips, except this guy right here.
Yeah.
Because he's watching, I go, Luke Skywalker's on your show.
Yeah. By the way, going back to what you about the scary, like JG was so successful in doing that. In fact, that part of that episode didn't get aired in Great Britain.
Why?
They were.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that.
British. What are they afraid of?
They might end up airing it. I heard that they might air it, but there was talk of like, oh, I don't know. It's like, you see a lot of deaths in that episode, but like, in the end, it's all just a story.
It's about a bunch of talking animals, man. Now, you also did Chowder?
No,
I just want to say...
I worked on Camp Laszlo was like my
We
first
watched
job,
that one, yeah.
and then Flapjack is where I got like a lot of experience, like kind of looking over like an entire show with Thura, so that once like this came around, like I had experience with more than just writing and boarding. Like I knew like what to expect with reports and what to expect with like getting animation back from Korea and how to make sure it's all working.
Now, you had Brian Doyle Murray, who played who was on Flapjack?
Knuckles.
He knows him, and the thing of it is, do you try to get the characters to be based on the voice? I mean, we try to how he could sound and say, let's build somebody around that voice, or do you come up with the character first and try to then find the sound? How does it work?
It's the characters first, like at least for me. Like I had drawn Pops in school, and I had Sam come and help me to do the voices for it. So like I was like, okay, here's the character. That's what he looks like, and that's just what he did. Like it was like first try. That's exactly how it sounded, and it's like this is hilarious.
Oh, really?
And so then that was like one, and then for the next film, which had Mordecai in it and Rigby or Benson actually, like that was more of Sam's like regular voice and my regular voice, and so I think for things like, say, Muscle Man and Rigby started as a drawing, and we got a lot of auditions, and Bill sounded the most like Rigby. Like, you're listening to him, looking at the drawing, going, oh, that doesn't sound like him, that doesn't sound like him, and then it finally clicks, and you're like, that's it, it's perfect. So you're searching for the voice that's going to match, and the acting. And we got lucky. We got lucky with this guy.
I did too. It's the best job in the world.
Actually, I wanted to ask. I've seen the old pencil drawings, the gas station shorts, and from way back in the day. And I was wondering, the humor in that is definitely not for kids. Was there a kind of process that you had to go through that you were like, you had to step back, like, oh, we need to, tone this down to PG?
Well, when I was at school, I was working at Cartoon Network full time, and I was going to school at night to keep animating because I wanted to do films. Like, that was my favorite thing, was making films. And at the time, I was taking like notes from the job because it wasn't my show, and I had to listen to people, and they'd be like, "No, we don't want it like that." And I'd be like, "Oh, okay, change it." And so that last film was really like, it was my final chance where I was like, this is my last chance to do whatever I want. And I was like, screw it, I'm going to do whatever I want. And I made it something that it didn't matter because I figured, well, I've already got a job, so it's okay if this pisses people off for some reason. So I'll just make it really over the top, and it's got the language, it's got some things that kids probably should not see, but I did it, and then kind of found two really cool characters from doing it because it was really a reflection.
Found a whole cast in that story.
I know. So I was really glad that I stuck it out and continued to try to make stuff that I just thought was funny. And we did have to tone it down, obviously, for television, which makes sense. And I don't think it would be as good, really, if it had to be like crazy up here all the time. It's kind of nice to make it something that more people can enjoy, and I think it's better. So
here's a question for you: is Muscle Man really the strongest guy in town, or do you just think so? Because Skips looks like
totally.
Your mom. He's not doing it. We hear this all day at our house. You guys can have a competition. Sound effects. No. It's not there.
Why just maybe one of the biggest influences that you had, maybe a show or maybe a director?
I was a big fan of Rocko's Modern Life growing up, and also The Simpsons. And so I loved the way The Simpsons was like the jokes and the writing was so witty, and I really realized I really cared about story, and I liked story and characters, and those two shows, I would watch them all the time. I never missed an episode, and I would be quoting the lines at school the next day because we were like, oh man, that part is so funny. So it's I really wanted to make something that hopefully people would quote and think the lines were funny, and just the kind of stuff that my friends and I laughed at when we were kids.
I have to take him to the next table.